Let's get this show started. The right one, this one. It ended early. I don't know why that ended early. Anyway, staring at my phone doing that, trying to get some things lined up. Don't understand why. Don't understand why it cut off early. I like my intro. I like my intro a lot. Anyway, I'm just trying to make sure my stream is going properly. And it is. I just don't know why it... Oh, well, I guess it didn't cut off, really. I was just imagining things. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. My name is Tom, otherwise known as Striking, here in the digital media world. I'm here live on DYOR Live. Not to be confused with our show DYOR Now, which we're starting to do. Some of these segments will end up on DYOR Now for you to consume as shorts while you're on the crapper. Only the finest here at DYOR. It's September 11th today. It is September 11th today. Obviously a day. If you're older, if you're an older one, if you're not one of these young moon boys, you'll remember this day as our parents remembered other days of their lives. It's just after 10 a.m. It's about the time that the tower started falling down in New York 22 years ago. 22 years ago. Ugh. A fun fact, I used to work in the World Trade Centers. Before they got blown up. And I tell people I used to work for... in the commodities trading markets there, and I worked in the New York Commodities Exchange that was in 4 World Trade Center. The 2 tall ones were 1 and 2. Boy, do I have a bad shadow today. And there's a whole bunch of other buildings around it, and I was in 4 World Trade Center, which is only about a 20-story building. Had a huge trading floor and all that in it. And one day they got blown up. The parking garage got blown up. This was in 1993. That was the first time they got blown up, and most people don't remember that they got blown up. And was it 1993? Yeah, I guess so. Something like that. And blew the shit out of the parking garage. The guys, knuckleheads, drove a van packed full of explosives into the underground parking garage. Thought it would take down the whole place. It wrecked a couple of floors of the parking garage and killed a bunch of people. It was awful. I called my friends that still worked there. I was working in Ohio by then, and one of my friends had a car blown up. I was like, ooh. He usually didn't drive to work, but he was going on a business trip after that, so he needed his car to drive to Philadelphia or wherever the hell he was going. He got his car blown up. Jason from Prudential Base, wherever you are. Hope they dug your poor car out of there and had some, got it back to you or whatever. But anyway, this is the day that, as an American, I do the, where were you on that day? And I was in Chicago. I was in Chicago at home. Using the facilities in the morning. We're an hour behind in Chicago, so it was an hour earlier than the Central Time, or than the Eastern Time. And where I was using the facilities, my ex had a mirror on the door, and so you could sit in the bathroom with the mirror on the door and see the toilet. You know, it's kind of toilet humor on a somber day type stuff. But and I could watch, and I was watching what was going on, and I couldn't believe it. And then when the second plane hit, I was like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, and I couldn't believe it. And it was something else. It was something else, and of course, everyone can sit and tell stories forever and ever, and I'll spare everyone from that on this day. But just the fact that my mother's side of the family's from New Jersey, the funerals went on for a long time after that. A lot of people died from that area of New Jersey, and my dad's best friend from high school and university, his name was Chuck Zion. He was an executive with Cantor Fitzgerald in the top of, I don't know if they're in 1 or 2 world trade, but they're in the top. And Cantor lost almost 700 employees that day. It was unbelievable, including Chuck. And I went to New York to see the memorial, and I took my son. I took my son with me, and we found his name on the thing that went around, the memorial where all the names are engraved. If you haven't been there, I suggest you go. If you're overseas somewhere watching this, come on over to the U.S. And look at that. Whatever your political reasoning is or whatever, go to it. It's really an interesting place. But that was a long time ago, a long time ago, and as Crypto Mike says. Half my life ago. Yeah, it's almost a little bit more than half my life ago. But anyway, to answer your earlier question, Mike, I like how you put the flag on the play. Striking is tired. As I was saying before the show got started, yes, a little tired, but had some good rest this weekend. Haven't done a show since I had Caitlin Long on the show last week, which is going over very well. I must say that the event is getting I only have like 100 views or so on YouTube, but on LinkedIn I've got 300 views. I mean, you can't go wrong with that. Can't go wrong with that. Anyway, we're past that. We've got more stuff coming for you. No interviews today. Just me rambling on for about 20 minutes or so to get a couple of topics on there to kind of lay the groundwork for the week of the things we're going to talk about. This week, we're going to talk about, obviously, we always talk about BTC because that sets the tone for the market. Pedro's not with me today. He said he might come on in a little bit here, but it's Monday and he's moving out and about for his real world job, so he's indisposed. But we'll be talking about BTC and the concept of how it's, in my belief, from listening to a couple of people, including Pedro on the show, that it's going lower. And it's going a lot lower. Not because people don't have confidence in it or don't think it's the greatest thing ever. It's because the big people in the market want it to go lower first so they can load up. Anyway, let's see what else we got here. Crypto Mike's watching on Twitch. Thank you very much we don't get a lot of traction on Twitch. Other topics we're going to talk about this week are the FTX debacle. A lot of things going on in the bankruptcy court in FTX that affects you. I'm not just sitting up here talking about news that you can read otherwise. Rugged. Well, some wrecked. Oh, look at my client. My thing goes off the end of my favorite. I'm going to adjust that. See if I can adjust this here. There we go. Anyway, so we're going to be the things that are going to affect you and why you should be paying attention to my show. And the news I'm about to talk about is the FTX bankruptcy has some key milestones this week. And one of them is that they're filing to be able to dispose of assets they no longer want. And they have to go to the bankruptcy court to do this and get approval to do just about everything. And Mike, yes, you're right. Notifications do come on better on Twitch. You get notified right away, whereas YouTube, LinkedIn, you might get notified the next week. I don't know. Anyway, And so what they, if when FTX went bankrupt, I don't know how many of you guys remember the Solana trouble. And in the little thumbnail just here said, "Oh Solana, oh Solana." I did a whole episode about Solana, and FTX had such a large position in Solana, and they had they had a lot of it that they owned outright, and free and clear to sell, which they dumped, and then a lot of tokens of Solana they had staked and could not get out. It was a staking contract; they could not release it, and people were saying, "Hey, when that stuff comes due, it's going to get dumped and the market's going to crash." And after FTX, we all saw Solana go down to, they went down to like 9 or something like that. I can't remember exactly. Let's see here. Went down to, yeah, 9.5 or so. And here, I don't know if you can see this on the screen here. This dumpage here was the fallout from the FTX scandal here. This one right here. And then it slowly recovered and did well. And the guys behind the Solana Foundation got their act together, got things going, kept the ecosystem going. One of the things I gave them a lot of grief for was they let FTX get too large of a position. And to just say that FTX bought it surreptitiously, bought a third of the outstanding Solana, whatever it was, is being disingenuous to the market, because we all know that they had to have worked together to accumulate such a large position. And I gave them grief saying Solana should have, and then the foundation, which is just in charge of making sure the blockchain runs well and the ecosystem is developed, they still should have taken out some options to hedge against FTX's issue or a large position in case something bad happened. And everyone knew, as it turns out, everyone in the market knew FTX was doing lousy things. Last week when Caitlin Long was on, she mentioned that she actually reported FTX to the authorities and gave evidence in part of the investigation leading up to it. And a number of other people have come out saying, yeah, we knew something was up and didn't do business with them. And so a lot of people famously came out for that. Anyway, so it was known that FTX had taken a huge position in Solana. And then they got hammered. Solana got just hammered. And it's not a good thing, but, in my concept of getting rugged, ruined, and wrecked, it is kind of funny. And then they've obviously consolidated over the past couple of months here. And had some good news, bad news. The Visa thing was good news, all this type of stuff. But they started to, as we've been approached, like when options expire, you see the price start to decline of the options. When the life of this staking contract is going to expire, you start seeing the price start to decline. In the past couple of days, we've seen lose at least 5%, 6%. And in the past 2 days, Solana's lost a lot. And the reason is because everyone's afraid that John Jay, of the CEO of FTX, now the bankruptcy CEO, is going to just dump the couple $100 million of Solana and dump the price. And I wanted to talk about this because I wanted to say that's not going to happen. And there's a bunch of people, YouTubers and Twitch people, that are saying, oh my gosh, get out of Solana. He's going to dump it. He's going to all this kind of stuff. They're just trying to manipulate the market here and create some FUD to drive the price down because they're probably short somewhere, Solana, and or getting ready to, as soon as the event is over, they're going to load up and buy it back. It's all market manipulation. And this is why, ladies and gentlemen, this is why. Because FTX has to go to the bankruptcy judge and say, we'd like authorization to get rid of these assets. And the bankruptcy judge then says, okay, how are you going to get rid of them? Is it an efficient method? And what are you going to do with the proceeds? And that's not just yo, bro, we're going to sell and then pay us out. That is, it's a long process. It involves, a lot of very expensive lawyers to get it done. And they put a plan together. And they have a plan together that maximizes the value that they can get for those tokens. And dumping them on the market does not get you your maximum value. Slowly selling them over time in a planned occurrence, mostly probably over the counter. They'll want to sell them in a manner that guarantees them a price, is definitely a legal entity in the U.S. that takes over the tokens for them, and does it in the manner that all parties can see and anticipate exactly how much they're getting for it. Because when you just dump it on the market, the automated market makers don't. When you dump that much, you don't get, exactly what you're looking for. And not only that, you might get front run and by a huge amount. You could get if someone anticipated that trade coming, they could make a fortune front running that trade. So there's a lot of variables in it that keep. Pedro's in the house. Hold on, Pedro. I'll be right with you. A lot of variables now that keep FTX from dumping Solana. So they just know that they're not going to dump Solana. I don't have to pontificate about this a lot. They're just not going to do it because they have a long legal process in order to unwind assets. And that's how bankruptcy courts work. That's how bankruptcy law works. And that's how the prudent management works in a proper company. Crypto people, dump it! Real companies, all right, let's have a plan. But meanwhile, as I talk, Solana's going down here. Oh, good Lord. Let's see if I can... No, I can't. I gotta move myself. No, still can't. Yeah, you can see it tanking right here. Anyway, that's the talk about Solana. Mike says, yeah, Luna. Luna's a classic example of dumping it. Came on the market. And they just flushed it. They just flushed it because there was a race to the bottom in it. And that's different. Solana doesn't have a race to the bottom. I don't know why this is so big over here. Control minus. All right, but I saw Pedro come on in the background. Let me grab Pedro. It's StreamYard, so I can't talk to him in the background today. I've got to bring him on here. It's which one do I want? This one. Pedro Garcia in the house. What's happening, Pedro?
What's up, brother? How you doing? Can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear.
Excellent. It's really weird because you're actually coming through my speaker system, but I can hear you through my speaker, but my video is able to hear me. Can you? That's just so weird.
Very strange indeed.
Do you hear an echo of you?
Nope.
All right, that's cool. I'm right, all right, because that at least then that means that I don't understand what is going on here, but all right, all righty then. So how you doing? How was your weekend? And
hold on, I was just checking the sound. Whoever's out there listening, if you could give us a comment and feedback, is my mic low compared to Pedro's? Let me know. Let me know. Anyway, how was your weekend, Pedro?
It was really, really well. It's really interesting because I kind of expected some things on. Like I called you up on Friday, right? What was going on?
Yep.
And I'm kind of shocked to didn't see much of what I thought would happen. So I was like, all right, maybe I was wrong. Maybe I'm losing touch on the market. So.
As a quick summary of what we're talking about, Paige and I were talking about certain things that were likely to happen in the market on Friday evening. Probably, I had a few beers or glasses of wine already, and we thought for sure something was going to happen, and it didn't really play out. With that, that doesn't mean the timing wasn't just correct, or timing might have been a little off.
Yeah, I would probably, but it's still one of those things, man. I was just like, wait, what is going on? So I said, you know what, I'm not gonna read too much into it, but it was maybe there wasn't enough orders coming in, that maybe that's why we saw
probably the volume was a little low.
The
volume's all in Solana selling right now.
Well, it's funny because when you look at Bitcoin is selling off, and it's coming down to the levels that I'm expecting. So it's just, but it's not necessarily like a huge sell off. But these gradual sell offs typically they just start to kind of just mosey on down where they need to get going. And I just think it's like, I think it's funny. I think it's funny because of some of the stuff that they do, and they don't necessarily, what's the word I want to use? They don't necessarily, was it 2008? Or you had this huge sell-off and just these massive amount of sell-offs. But normally, like besides flash crashes, if we're in a bear market, like 2000 to 2002, which was the 2-year just drizzle down with the whole entire markets each year, 30%, 40%, 20%, like like the market gave half itself back in 2000 to 2002. So I forget those times because I'm so used to like these flash crashes that you got to remember like that's not normal. Like, so
Right.
I don't know. I'm just used to.
All right, Pedro, where were you on September 11th?
I was actually headed to a junior college. I was actually out in California, and was heading to junior college. And I remember waking up and turning on the TV, and they were like, I was all over the news, and I was like, what? And I didn't even know at that time what the twin towers were. I didn't even know what they were.
Oh, you youngsters.
Yeah, so it was one of those things. It's kind of crazy. Where were you?
I was in Chicago. As I said earlier, I opened the show talking about what I was doing then, and I was on the facilities, as they say, after the morning coffee. And I had my old apartment had a mirror on the bathroom door, inside of the bathroom door, so that when the bathroom door would be open, like say if you're alone in an apartment, you could see the TV through the mirror. And so I had the TV on because people were talking about that after the first one hit. So I was using the facilities when the second one hit. And I'm on the crapper and I'm going like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God,
Yeah.
oh my God.
It was
All right.
crazy.
It was nuts. It was nuts. After the couple of days afterwards, we would go up and stand on the roof of the apartment building and see nothing in the sky. In Chicago, there's lots of air traffic, obviously, with O'Hare and Midway there, and there was nothing. No contrails. No, it was quiet. Everything was so quiet in the city. It was amazing. It was very, very weird. Anyway, let's get to the good stuff today. Mike Mike, I forget where you were. You in Alberta? He's watching D-Gens today, but I know, Pedro, you're watching BTC. And is it playing out as if we've been talking, just slowly sinking down there?
Yeah.
Heading down towards
much.
23, 22?
Yep. It's down at 25. It's still kind of in this sideways motion right now. We're testing the lows. It's just, going down. I'll share my screen. I present. Let me know when you guys can see it. All right. So you can see here, based where we're sitting at. I kind of cleaned up.
Mike's coming from Winnipeg, right?
Kind of cleaned up the chart here because people, they were like, it doesn't make sense. Well, you can see here. Just from just a blank, real clean. We're basically putting in some lows here from the previous high, which put in a lower high. And now we're going to see probably a bit of a lower low down into these levels here, where we're going to probably come down. I think that 20,000 mark is kind of I hate to say it for sure thing, but there's nothing else kind of holding this. We're already kind of selling off here. So you can see kind of, I'm going to show here real quick the break, right?
So you, along with some other people that seem to be more rational, are saying, hey, this is still going down here. What do you, and we're talking about in those, low 20s area, 23, 22, 20, somewhere in there. And then probably there'll be a little consolidation there. What do you think it's going to do after that? Is that the kind of the lower band in which the market wants to get down to before it loads back up for another mini pump? I don't mean bull market. I mean,
yeah. These 20,000. I just think there's buyers down at 20,000. There's buyers down at 15,000. They don't want to spend. They don't want to load up here. That's still too expensive for them. You can see that. If you see right here, look, there's just not a lot of volume coming in, right? There's some volume at the 20,000, but that's Michael Saylor, and these are those Bitcoin like bulls that are pushing this up. But we're not seeing institutions like BlackRock or all these other guys wanting to buy in at these levels. I think they are buying and selling, but it's not necessarily buy sell. I think it's sell buy, which means that they're shorting, that they're shorting, or they're really just trying to like kind of accumulate so that they can sell off a large amount to push it down to create flash crashes and then trigger stops, which would trigger sell orders, which then push down the market further. I know people don't want to hear this, but
no, they don't.
Yeah, but we potentially could get down to this 10,000 mark, and if this doesn't hold, the next real point is like 3 or 5. So we have this 5,000 mark area here, or 8,000, and then this area right here, which is basically like 6 or 5,000, and then we have a 3,000 mark area, 4,000 mark area here. And you can see here, like, the reason why I pick these levels because there's consolidation and we've seen some explosions here. The reason why I'm very not bullish on this is because of this right here. This right here, when we came down to this level, we didn't look at the volume here and the volume here. Yep. Okay, these buys, right, or even sells. These were sell markers to push down. These shorters potentially are still here. There's some shorters potentially here. I believe they could be trying to short the market. We'll see. But again, this is acting as resistance to this level here. Now we're starting to see it turn around again. We're not, we didn't see it. We just did a half trace or a half market retracement. 30,000. Yep. Our peak was 40 or 60,000, 67,000. So that's why I sit there and I look at this going, this is, to me, a pretty clear sign that most likely we're going to end up going down. So
I would agree with that. Mike comments here that it's crazy to think that it would go to 10. I personally think that's crazy too, but it's crypto, and crazy things happen in crypto that we don't expect, and it all depends on where those orders are, where the people put in those massive amounts of buy orders. Is generally where that liquidity is generally where the market goes. Over time, and obviously people want to buy low. They want to buy low and sell high, but there's a lot of people that put a lot of orders down there, which means that they're thinking it's going there. And I think the Michael Saylors of the world will do their best to keep it above that. I mean, the published, break even point for him is like around 20,000. So, when it gets below that, he starts to feel the pain. But still, on that note, On that note, I did want to talk about. I had a note on here to talk about Michael Saylor. He did an interview this week with I don't know, another YouTube channel that Crypto Banter or something like that, and in which he talked about the ETF things, and he left out something that's important. I don't know why I can't get this on my screen here. And he talks about how it's on my screen, but it's not. I can't figure this out. This one, not this one. This one, not that one. This one, that one. And I'm still with. I was telling everybody before you came on that we switched to using StreamYard. Nice. And so I'm still not. I don't know why that's still like that. Anyway, the point is that Michael Saylor is talking about his investment in Bitcoin and what's coming up with the ETFs. And he was talking about how it's going to generally be a boon for crypto. And I think it was a lot of, frankly, a lot of pump and fud on his part, because he wants the price to go up. He's pitching two things. One, he's pitching people to buy Bitcoin, of course. I got two hands on the screen. And he's also pitching to buy an interest in his company, because he's been pitching. And very interesting enough, he says if you're a corporation and don't want to mess with crypto or have some tight reporting requirements, that you can't buy Bitcoin directly, you can buy shares in his company, because MicroStrategy is predominantly focused on Bitcoin. He said his MicroStrategy still makes $1 billion a year in its regular business, and
cash.
I can't remember what he said. Yeah, he makes. He's $1 billion a year company. I don't know what his net profits were versus gross profits. He said he makes $1 billion. I don't know if that's revenue or profits. I mean, $1 billion in profits would be a lot. But in talking about that, they were going on and on about the change in the accounting rules for Bitcoin and other crypto assets that the FASB said they're going to change the generally accepted accounting principles to properly account for cryptocurrencies. This is why it's not right. There we go. And they were talking about that. And one of the things he said was that ETFs likely cause the market to boom. And as you know, Pedro, you and I have talked about that potentially not happening. And the market... The market... Sorry, I get distracted by a comment here. If it hits 3,000, crypto is dead. Yes.
See, that's the key. Here's the thing. You actually nail a point that I think is so important right there. Is that when you sit there and you say crypto at X amount is dead, this is the critical junction. Everybody sells off. This is literally what they want. If you remember 2008, if you remember in 2002, right? People literally gave up on the stock market. People stopped putting money into really their 401k. You don't understand, right? This is what they want. And then what happens is people just get done, but they're selling off their positions at such low levels is that the institutions take the other side and corner the market.
Yep.
This is why, and it's what they do. That's why.
Oh, now you got the feedback going.
Now is it going?
No. Anyway, but to finish my to talk about Michael Saylor, one of the things that occurred to me, I was arguing with jousting with someone on LinkedIn about ETFs, and they're talking about specifically about BlackRock, and Saylor brought this up too. Was that ultimately it'll be a net gain, and they're leaving out the part that in which BlackRock and crew can make as many units as they want and sell them, so they can essentially naked short their own position, which of course is bad for their investors. You know, they don't want to bring a whole bunch of people in at Bitcoin price of 30,000, and then drop it down to 15,000 by naked short selling and have the arbs blow the price down. But they could tell their investors, hey, you know, we're taking your money in right now, but we're going to move the market a little bit, and then we're going to bring it back up, and your net asset value of this is going to be a lot higher when done. People will be like, okay. And so, but one of the things that it just occurred to me is that people could put $100 billion into these ETFs, and it would not cause the market to move at all. And you think, Tom, why? How can that be? How can that possibly be? And it's because, how long ago was it that Larry Fink got up there and said, Bitcoin is money laundering and scams, and we'll never touch it? When was that? Was that 5 years ago? Something like that?
I remember because I stayed away. That's why I stayed away from crypto so long. It's the institutions were like, no, that's literally it's drug money. Like,
right.
When it was not, when was the last, it was the last bull market.
Yeah, it's 2000, it was at 21 or 17. I don't care. Whatever, it was a while ago.
Yeah.
What do you think BlackRock was doing when he was poo-pooing the market?
He was buying.
He was buying, of course.
He was buying.
Of course he was buying. He was buying, of course he was. And that means that BlackRock already has billions of dollars worth of crypto. And they probably bought it over 100, 200, 300, 500, 1,000 wallets or something like that.
Yeah.
Or huge exchange positions in which they have a non-disclosure agreement with the exchange to make sure that their position stays iron tight. Or bought a lot over the counter or whatever. Or using a front guy like Michael Saylor or something like that to buy these things. And so it's very possible, to everyone out there promoting ETFs as the greatest thing ever, it's very possible that BlackRock could bring in $100 billion in institutional money, and the price of Bitcoin would not even move an inch. Because they already have the Bitcoin. They don't need to buy it.
But, I mean, I also want to bring up, do you remember what happened during the last bull market? I remember because I was looking at the Bitcoin futures. Like, the last bull market, they introduced Bitcoin futures on the CME. Right? And then they started trading options. They started trading options on the future side of Bitcoin. You can sit there and see leap options, call options, put options. You can see where the hedges are. You can see where people have put in leaps, and then potential where like they expect the market to go, right? Obviously, we don't know what side. I mean, we know that there's a put or there's call, but there are calls and there are puts down, and meaning like they're short, right? So if they're short a put, they need to bring in a call to reverse their option, or they can get out of their option. Right? They want to or at least exercises, and
they just take the other side of the put.
Yeah, is what I'm thinking. They take the other side to get out. You can see here, like if you go to leaps on these things, like they're down at 2,000, 4,000, 5,000. Like you can honestly see there are people who are betting long term, and not small amount of people, that this market is coming down to at least 10,000, and then there are stuff at 5,000, and there's stuff at 3,000, 4,000. You can go through and look at that. Like that's real. Like, and there's that other side, like what you're talking about, where the BlackRock guys, they're making money. They're gonna make a lot of money on this sell-off. Like it's. I would love to. I know you have connections.
Totally agree with you. Totally agree with you.
So
They're like I said, they probably bought Bitcoin, loaded up on it, and now they're shorting it too, probably. And it's it's a license to print money.
It really is. It's. Let me ask you something. If you had children, and it all depends on and in the posterity of your lineage. Oh, that's the wrong word. It's the prosperity. I don't know what I said because I was thinking lineage and I said posterity. But the prosperity of your lineage, if it depended on you bringing cash in so you can set up for the next new cycle of on the monetary system, why would you not do this if you could do this?
Right. I totally agree.
And he straight said, he goes, if Bitcoin gets down to 5,000, 3,000, Bitcoin is dead. That's what they want you to believe. That's exactly what they want. I don't know. I mean, do you think that from a fundamental level with these institutions, when we saw that they opened up with the last bull market, when the bull market was rallying and the S&P 5, or not the S&P 500, but crypto was rallying this last bull market, and the institutions got in as it was rallying down around here, right? This is when they got around as the market was coming into here, right? You saw a sell-off, push-up, and then a sell-off. Like this right here was caused, I believe, by the CME. And I remember telling people, I was literally Ubering a guy back here, and he had taken out a mortgage on his house, literally. And he goes, it was in like November, like actually December-ish area, and it's like 17,000. And he goes, this is going to the moon. It's going to go to 100,000. And so I went and looked at the charts, and I said, no, it's not. It's actually fading out. Look, we're having a decrease in volume right here.
Yep.
Right, you can see this. It's pretty blatant. It's not going up. He goes, you know what you're talking about. He goes, and I pull up to this, I pull up to this giant house. This was in Costco. It's a very wealthy place in Connecticut. And I drop this guy off. I look at the house and I go, dang, this man's about to get divorced. He was about, and like he was that sure. And I said, please, sir. I begged with him. I literally begged him, and I said, please, 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 get your money out. Apologize to your wife. Put that into a nice little, 2% income.
Right.
Buy
a certificate of deposit in the bank.
Yeah, like just being honest with you, right? Like you are in I think he was in his late 50s, and and then it was in December because it's Christmas time. I remember I needed to make money for presents at the time, right? And boom, I felt bad for this guy because look, boom, it sold off. Now, like if we think about this, I just feel like the same thing. They're talking about they're getting in this year, and they're pushing the market up, right? And now it's the whole entire same thing again. I don't know. But you're right. I mean, I'm confused because it's like personally, I just don't understand how crypto people can be so dumb. Like it's like they don't think that the institutions can do this to them. Like Michael Saylor is okay. He'll always be okay. The guy makes $1 billion off his business. If he takes even, if he takes 1% of his income off of his business, he literally makes $10 million a year.
Right.
You know how much that is? That's $800,000 a month almost.
I'd love to have that problem, wouldn't you?
Yeah. Like that's a lot of money.
I don't know what I'm going to do with all that money.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's just off his business. He does he does care because a lot of his money is in Bitcoin. But Bitcoin going down to 3,000, Bitcoin going down to 10,000, I don't think he's going to feel the pain at 10,000 or at 20,000. But it's not like his business is going to go belly up. Am I wrong, or maybe am I misunderstanding what he does?
No,
I know he's an
you're
investor.
right. You're right. I was just wanted. I sorry to
Sorry,
my
go
other
ahead.
screen here caught my attention here earlier when before you came on. I was talking, or right when you were coming on, I was talking about Solana and the bankruptcy proceedings,
Oh yeah.
and how people, other people, were out on the internet saying that FTX is dumping billions of dollars in Solana and all types of stuff and the other assets, and the price is going to tank. And I was explaining how that's not how it works in bankruptcy court. You go to apply to the bankruptcy judge, and you have to have a plan for liquidation, and you have to have an exact price, and how you're going to use the proceeds, and all this type of stuff. And so FTX is not just going to go when all the, however many hundreds of millions or billions of dollars Solana comes out of staking. They're just not going to go click and dump it. They're going to probably sell it over the counter to via contract, so to satisfy all the bankruptcy court needs. And so it's going to have almost no effect on the Solana price at all. Yet over on this screen over here next to me that you can't see, I have the Mario Nawful headline here as FTX liquidating billions. Oh my God! And it's
This
just
guy.
it's just hype. And of course the Wolf of Wall Street there is egging him on also, and it's just a disaster. But that's one of the problems with the great internet here is that here's people like me with a very small voice saying, "Hey, no, this is actually how it works."
Yeah.
I went and I
And
researched how it's going to work. I listened to a couple of quick interviews about it, and I was like, "Oh, I get how it works now." I'm not a lawyer; I haven't done this before, but they explained how these things work. It's like, okay, that works. So I thought I'd come on and talk about it. And then you got Nawful here with 24,000 people bots watching, and they're like, they're dumping it. Solana's going to 10. Sigh.
And here's the thing. I actually see it going down. I honestly see Solana coming down to 10. Like,
Yeah, no, I agree with you on that. It's going to go there because
and
people are pushing it down.
I also see $4 or 4.26 through 4.11 is the next spot after 10, or not. I have 9.73 to $8. The first resistance or the first support level that will probably hit. I actually have another support level here at 16 and 15 here. So I don't know when. I wish we could sit there and see when I put my my tabs in, so I can sit there. No, there's when date. It would look very nice if I could. Anyways, yeah, man. Or the other thing I was looking at, and I think it's really interesting, is Matic. Like, I think Matic is probably one of the biggest. I like Matic. I think Matic is a great.
I always have too, but their price is suffering.
But they're still bringing onboarding a ton of business. Their system is solid. I mean, you know what I'm saying? So I think Matic is like another one that is another solid buy. I don't think and when I say buy, obviously this is for entertainment and social educational purposes only, but please do not take my advice as investment advice. This is not investment advice. To your own research. Okay.
Exactly.
But like, as these lower levels here come down, it makes these altcoins more advantageous to buy because they're going to be bigger rally. I mean, we're going, one of these are going to stick around in the next bull market, and we're going to see some type of 100x, right? Like, or 50x, 40x. And these are great yield staking protocols to sit there and take advantage. I mean, or what are your thoughts on that? Like, if we come back down to 30 again, like I was in my group, I wish I could bring this guy on. If we were all the way up at $1.40, up in these levels, 135, 140-ish area, and they asked me, where do you think Solana is going to be? and I said 30 cents. And they're like, what? 30 cents? I go, yeah, it's going to go down 30 cents, bro. Definitely. Definitely. Because this has been bought. This has already been bought through. Like these areas here have already been traded through. This area, you have this little bit right here. But when I looked at the daily and couple hours, it didn't have a lot of volume in this area.
Yeah,
So
no liquidity in there.
No, nothing. And so when we were sitting at these levels, I said, this baby's coming down to 30 cents. Right here, this is where we'll bottom out. And the group of guys I was talking, he goes, I just put my order in down there. And so I said, dope, cool, good luck. Most likely he'll get down there. I'm almost positive, but cool. And then he goes through, and he, sure enough, it hits it, and he texts me, and he goes, dude, I just bought so much Matic. And I said, bro, I didn't tell you to. He goes, I get it. I go, you can't come after me, because I made it very clear this is not financial advice. I said, in my personal opinion, I think potentially this could probably do this right here, right? And he had seen me call like the market at that time now, like when Bitcoin hit when it went from 30,000 to 40,000, and we started seeing a sell-off, is when he realized, he was like, all right, I should probably listen to this dude. Anyways, I feel like I'm boasting.
A couple of commenters, Solana is dumping so hard. DCA is the way. Crypto Macro says, dumping right now.
Dumparoo. The key is when I'm looking at this, is if you do want to decide to DCA, okay, and if that's your own decision, what I would suggest is you want to find weekly and monthly areas and zones. Okay, so we have this, there's a weekly zone right here, and then we have a monthly zone sitting right here. Okay, because we go to higher time frame areas where institutions have previously pushed through. So when I'm looking really at like that 16-15 area, okay, where we could see it kind of hold. And then I have another area at the $9.81 to the $8 one, right? Most likely we'll probably push through here. Okay, and the reason why I say that is because there were a lot of sellers that pushed this market down, and now they're continuing it down. So I do think we'll most likely get to this $9 mark. But if you're looking to DCA, when you're DCAing, it's very important that you do it on a weekly period, monthly period, based off whatever you want to do it, but you consistently do it, right? Because this is a long-term play for you. If you're looking, that's the point of DCAing, right? Is that it's a long-term play, because you're thinking years down the road. We're talking retirement, right? You're gonna live off the the staking rewards that you're gonna make off of this, right? So you're waiting for this then to get back to that 200, 260 and above. 20 years, based on your time horizon, potentially we could see Solana at 1,000, right? Based how far we go down. I know it sounds crazy to think about, right? But thinking that it might be at $4 right now. I mean, I remember when Ford back in 2008 dropped all the way down to almost $1, and it previously was at 40. So now Ford is much. I don't know where is Ford at. I'm actually curious.
I had a system freeze here. Hold on. Something's going on with the old computer.
Holy crap. Am I at the right?
Can you hear me, Pedro?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me? Yeah, I can hear you. Hello? Hello, hello, hello. Hello? It looks like we might have lost Tom here. We're in the show. All right, guys. So I'll go over this up until he comes. So I remember when we had the huge sell-off, and where is it? 2008.
Sorry about that.
That's okay. Wow, this is Ford Motor. Did they reset their? 2008. Yeah, here it is. I remember when we hit $1. So we were right here. I remember this right here, man. This was nuts for me. I think it came it came down like to 60 cents. But I sat there and I was like, I should just throw like $400 in it, $1,000 in it, right? But people were talking about how like there's no way they're going to be able to climb out of this. I didn't listen. I did listen to them, and I didn't buy any. And today I think I should have thought long term, right? Like catch it at 60 cents. It's a penny stock, right? And like 2 years, 3 years prior, we had seen it sitting at, right, like, $5, and then we were, that $10 mark. Granted, it had been going down, but I mean, at least if throwing $1,000, $1,500 at this period, you could at least got a lot of, could have gotten some money out of it. And I remember it just, I had watched it push up and push up, and so it's just one of those things that, as we see a sell-off of our major coins, you can sit there and see, all right, where are junction points that we could see this go to, right? And I think this is a good area, right? I think for Solana, that area down in here is a good area. That $9.
Look at that up and down. What is that? Is that a weekly chart or something? Or
yeah, this is a monthly.
A monthly. Whew.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, $200. Now it's down at 20 or 17. Where are we at right now? Actually, give me a second. We are at 1750 something. So it's just, I think it's cool because these are just giving you opportunities to buy over the long term. In the next, if you think like 10 years from now, right? 20, what is it? 2033, right? When, crypto is now kind of a mainstream of things, and it's going to be really, you'll be like, I remember when, right? You'd be like, I don't know. What are your thoughts on this?
Hold on, I'm resetting my camera right now. I'm frozen.
That's okay. So there's also this part. So let's talk about TRX, Justin Sun. I was positive that we were about to see another fall apart here, but we didn't. They actually found themselves, because their stable coin was depegged from the dollar quite a bit. It wasn't equivalent, and I was like, dude, they don't do anything about this. It was about a year ago. This thing is going down, probably about 8 months ago, but they pulled it, dude. They pulled it together. I'm impressed with. He rallied the troops and got it going, and I'm really impressed with what he's done. I'm not saying that he's like, crypto savior or anything like that, but how he led his crew and how he's really trying, I'm impressed with that he just didn't give up. And like some of these founders, they just bounced. They're just, we're talking a big, full of utility companies.
Well, I agree with that. There's been a lot of them that have bounced that just disappeared.
Yeah.
And I don't know why. I also don't know why I'm frozen here. I just can't figure it out.
I think also maybe they just get tired of the ups and downs in the community of like, we're falling apart, you need to do something. Whereas, TradFi is like, all right, so this is an opportunity to buy dope, right? And so they probably just get irritated, I would assume, with just that, like mindset, mentality, and a lot of these guys did come from traditional finance. They do believe in the blockchain. They see it as a forward, amazing, technology. They see crypto as an opportunity to get wealthy. But you just get to the point when you made more than your lifetime worth of money, right, that you can spend, and they're just like, I'm done with this. You guys just irritate me. I just want to punch y'all in the throat now. Like I used to like you, but now you're just
punch y'all in the throat.
Dude, I remember sometimes, man, I'm sitting there, people are literally asking me to give away the whole entire game plan. And it's almost like how when we were in war, right? The Iraq war or other excuse me, they were never wars. What do they call them? They were never called the actual war. Anyways, the reporters... Police actions, yeah, whatever they were called. It was funny because the reporters would always say, look, you're here. Where are our plans to go next? And what are we planning to do when we get there? Are we going to hit them all? You know, like literally giving everything away. And they actually at first started doing that. They started answering. And then like Bush, I was like, what are you doing? Like you're literally giving away I can't believe you even said that. Right? And so they basically said, then finally they got to the point where, they were like, we can't answer that question. We can't answer that question. We can't answer that question. And it was almost like there's this, and that's what it feels like when you're a leader of a coin, is that they want you to give away all your strategies because they want to feel secure knowing that something's coming. And it's like, we can't do that. Like I'm not. And I can only imagine these top guys.
All right, Pedro, it's that time of the day where the show is coming to an end. Like I was telling everybody earlier, I brought up Solana and FTX here. Someone put up as a comment, Solana's dumping hard, but FTX wallets show no movement at all, as I expected, that they would not be selling anything off. So I expect by the end of the day here, you'll see a nice little move back up in Solana, just as a temporary FOMO type thing before it starts its way back down. But anyway, no movement on FTX selling anything, just the market manipulators doing their thing. We'll talk more about that this week. Obviously, we'll talk more about BTC and where the market's going. As I say, we're not the most popular people saying it's going down, but it is going down. We mentioned Michael Saylor and the ETF thing and the potential that BlackRock and other crew have already bought enough Bitcoin to satisfy their any custodian needs that they would have for that. And I also I'm not sure that I'm also not sure that the ETFs have to maintain a 1-to-1 ratio. Not sure how that works. I don't think they do. Mm-hmm. But anyway, Mike from Manitoba says, great show, buddy. Thank you very much, Mike. And also this week, one of the other topics we're going to talk about is CBDCs and Canada's rejection of them. At this point in their life, the Bank of Canada came out and said, it's not a good plan at all. And so we'll have a show about that maybe tomorrow or the next day. And I'm also trying to line up some good guests for this week. That's not like the awesome ones we had last week. And also at some point this week, I'll be on the Zach Humphrey show again with him and Austin Hilton. So look forward to that. I'll let everyone know when that happens. But Pedro, before we go, anything else you want to say here?
Yeah. One thing. Look at DOT. So I'm going to share my screen. I know. I'm so sorry.
I turned the screen sharing off already.
Oh, shoot. I was going to say, if you look at DOT, there's a zone. As we see a sell-off in the market, there's a zone down at 20.
Pedro, I'm wrapping up the show. That was a cue for you to say, hey, all right, everybody, have a good time. We'll see you tomorrow.
All right, guys. We'll see you tomorrow. I just wanted, because I know I'll forget this. All right, guys, have a great day. Be safe out there.
All right, everybody. Thanks for joining in. My name is Tom, otherwise known as Striking, here on the DYOR Media Network. For me and Pedro and I, have a great day. See you tomorrow.